this video, I'm going to be sharing with you the truth on the fourth dimensional shift. I'm going to be sharing with you what to expect and how you can easily move through it. Welcome back to another video. My name is Aaron and I help people expand their consciousness. Now in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you more of understanding what is called the fourth dimensional shift. It is a shift that is happening right now on the planet, and it will continue to happen over the next 15, 20, 30, however many years. It's something that we're all going through collectively. Now, some people are more aware of it than others. Some people can feel it more than others. But in general, it is something that is available to us right now. Imagine that right now on the earth, there are states of consciousness where we can perceive of duality, which is good, bad, light, dark, and all these contrasts. We can experience that right now, but imagine there's also a state of consciousness where we let go of that and we start to exist in a higher vibrational state. Well, that is available right now, and there's many people on the planet that are moving between the third and fourth dimension. And you can think of the fourth dimension as well as sort of realizing the truth about life. This is a realization that I had years ago when I went through my spiritual awakening. I realized that there is more than just the five senses. We normally think the five senses, this is everything that there is in the world. We interpret our reality through the five senses. And yes, we do interpret our reality through the five senses, but understanding and knowing that there are more vibrations than what we can perceive of, just like on the light spectrum, we can only see between infrared and ultraviolet. But does that mean there's not colors outside of that? No, that's just a small tiny window that we can see. Same with that of the decibel range of what we can hear. We may not hear the sound of a dog whistle, but that doesn't mean that the sound doesn't exist. It just means that dogs hear it. So in the same way, we can see that our senses are limited. And when we come at it from the point of we need solidity in order to prove things, we are then going about it in a way where we feel like it's almost like we close ourselves in and we become too logical. Remember, in life in general, it's about balance of the intellect with the intuition. It's a mixture of both. And sometimes we get locked into these perspectives, like we have to be able to prove everything, we have to be able to prove everything. But that mentality is a 3D mentality that keeps us locked in what we could in a way call a matrix. Now that's gonna sound kind of scary when I talk about the matrix, but in a way, when you've ever seen the movie The Matrix, it's a symbol, but it's also somewhat true. There is a matrix of our own mind for the way we see the world, and if we buy into that matrix, guess what? That becomes our reality. Now, let me share with you a little bit about my journey through understanding the fourth dimension, understanding this capacity, what it really means to live in this way as well. I went through a spiritual awakening in 2012. Maybe you've heard my story on it. And when I went through it, I started meditating because I had ADHD, and I started to observe my thoughts. And as I started to go through that, I started to feel completely different about reality. I realized that there were senses beyond the five senses that we had, because in deep states of meditation, I could feel it. I could feel something beyond the five senses, and it made me realize, hey, there's something here. Like there's something beyond just this physical ego structure life. And that opened my eyes. So I started meditating. And as I started doing that, I became aware of how my beliefs create my reality. I had like a tough childhood. You probably heard me talk about that before too. And because I had a tough childhood, I identified with my story, and I realized in a moment, there was this moment where I realized that my story was something I kept telling myself, and because I kept telling myself that story, I kept feeling the negative emotion because of it. Now at the same time, I started to become aware of this. I started to let this go. As I started to do that, my vibration started to raise. I started to feel much better. I'd say on a scale of 1 to 10, I normally felt a 3 to a 5 out of 10. Which wasn't so great. Then all of a sudden I'm feeling a 7 or 8 out of 10. I started to feel high all the time. And I was looking at myself and I was like, wow, why I feel so different. And from that point going forward, I quit smoking weed, because I used to smoke weed because I was taking Adderall, which is the prescription drug they give for people that have ADHD. So I would take that during the day, and I'd be able to focus at work because I worked a sales commission job, and I'd go home at night and I wouldn't be able to eat or sleep. Well, what helps with eating and sleeping? Well, obviously that was weed. So I would smoke weed at night. However, I started meditating, and within a couple weeks of meditating, I didn't need to smoke anymore. I just started feeling really good. And then also at the same time, I got rid of Adderall. This all happened within a couple week period. Now, as I was going through this experience, what I started to realize is that life in general is a form of dream. You get this in the form of an intuition, in a form of a feeling. When you start to do this work, when you start to go within, you realize that life in general is something that appears to be so real because we identify through our five senses. But what I became aware of is that I could instead learn to observe life, not engage so much with the 3D. And this is also where you may go through experiences of understanding that you are multidimensional. So for me, that was understanding a certain, I started reading about a certain star system called the Pleiades. And this probably sounds kind of out there, but when I was looking into this, there was something about it that just resonated with me. I felt a deep resonance my whole life. I grew up really liking dolphins. I'd always get dolphins as gifts, like dolphin statues and stuff like that from my dad and from my family. And it was just something, I was always so fascinated with dolphins, which are also very connected to that of multidimensional existence. And these little things started to hint themselves at me. And for example, the Pleiades was one of them. I read about it, and something about it resonated so strong that from that point going forward, I knew there was something true about it. I knew I had a connection to that of what we call the Pleiades. But understand that we're multidimensional in nature. So we have connections all over the universe that we are connected to, because our soul is not just this big. Our soul is huge. We are so much more powerful than we can imagine. So that planted a seed for me, and then I started becoming very interested in that of understanding these different facets of multidimensionality, how we have many different existences at the same time, because I connected to my existence in that reality, which exists right now. So we have to understand time in a different way as well when we look at this. But then I went through a period of a couple months where I became very angry, because, not very angry, but when you go through this and understand this, the way that the reality works, you realize that there are certain people that have certain type of pull over the conditioning of our society. So what I mean is the media. I mean, like, some people call it the back government, the Illuminati, whatever we want to call it. Now, for a couple months, I got kind of angry with that, because I was like, I in a way wanted to fight against that idea, and I wanted people to know this information, because the first thing you learn is, okay, now I know more about how reality works. It's something that you experience as well. This isn't just some intellectual idea. It's like, oh, I create my own reality. It's like, no, you create your own reality, and then you see the correlation between what you think and what you experience, and you feel this connection to your spirit, and it's something you feel, and it's like something someone else can tell you, oh, that's not real, that's not true, and you look at them and you go, you don't, it's me, like it's my experience. It's, how can it not be real? You know what I mean? Or from that perspective. So it's about understanding that this is about experience. And there's different layers of it. There may be a layer you go through as you are shifting into this awareness, that you become a little bit angry at the way this current society is. Because the way current society is may be that there's a certain level of control, and that control may make you feel like, oh, the government's doing this, the money is just a system that keeps us enslaved. All those perspectives, the fear that we have towards it actually feeds those perspectives. That's one thing I realized as well. So I went through a period of where I was kind of angry at it, but then eventually I became at peace with it and realized that, what can I do to make an impact? For me, that was making videos, so that's what I'm doing now. And I teach it from a very positive place. Yes, maybe in the past there were people that were controlling certain events, or the money system is owned by corporations, or things like that. But the key is to not be afraid of it, because if we're afraid of it, we feed it, and we feed that 3D reality. You see, the reason I say all this is because this information is here for us right now, and in a way, it has been blocked from us from a certain perspective because of social conditioning, and because we're constantly kept in the 3D reality through our emotions. Think of it like, watch the news, watch the negative stuff that happens, keep entrained into those lower vibrational states of consciousness. As you do so, it keeps you in the 3D reality. The key is observation and knowing that there is a fourth dimensional state of consciousness, which is getting rid of the ego, getting rid of these different perspectives, and seeing it for what they are. Because here's the truth about reality. Our beliefs create our reality. But the thing is because millions and billions of people on the planet are led to believe that reality acts a certain way, it creates this energetic structure for how reality works, and therefore that becomes the self-fulfilling prophecy. Now, the thing is, the biggest thing is when people, we talk about the Illuminati and all these different sides of the government, or behind the government, whatever, the only thing that gives them power is that they direct our focus. The true power is within the billions of people on the planet, and as we start to wake up, which is happening right now, we are becoming more aware of it, and we're taking our power back. So the process and the shift into a fourth dimensional state of consciousness is about understanding that reality is literally, not just metaphorically, it's literally a dream. It is a dream, and it is a fluid dream. The only thing that keeps us from experiencing miracles in our life is believing that things are so rigid, structure, duality, contrast, and just focusing on that. If we allow things to be magical, they will become magical. The more we realize that life is a form of dream, the more dreamlike our life will become. So it's about understanding this correlation and understanding that we are immortal spiritual beings living temporary human experiences. This is important because then we realize that we can still take our life and have fun in our life and go through this. This is like an avatar. This is like an avatar in a movie. We are embodying it. Yes, we can identify with the body, but the biggest con in life has been people believing that they are just their body. They're just their ego. And I believed that for a long time. So waking up out of it, it is such an empowering feeling. To this day, I still listen to certain music. I used to listen to a lot of Enigma, if you guys have heard of Enigma. And Enya is like the spiritual music. I used to listen to that when I went through my spiritual awakening in 2012. When I listen to those music and that sound now, it brings me back to that nostalgia feeling of that expansion. Even though I'm still awakening more and more, it's like this feeling that I get when I listen to it. And I really like it. And when it comes to this whole process, understand it is a process, but it's you becoming more aware of it. Now, one little thing I want to share real quick, and I've shared it in a couple other videos before, but something called QHHT, Quantum Healing Hypnosis Technique, which is a way of having the higher self come through. It's a form of hypnosis that Dolores Cannon has developed, and she passed away recently, but she has over 17 books that are transcripts of people in QHHT, which means their higher self is coming through, they're speaking the words, and it's being tape recorded, and afterwards, a lot of times they don't even remember what they said because they were in a trance. They were in, and their higher self was coming through. And Dolores Cannon would ask them questions like, why did you incarnate at this time? What is your purpose in this life? What are you meant to be doing? What was your relationship with your mom and your dad? Why did that happen? Why did this happen? You know, there's questions that are developed. And one of the things that was consistent is that people from all over the world, thousands and thousands of people that have been through these transcripts that didn't know each other, have said that the reason they're here right now is for this shift in consciousness that's happening right now. Because as a society, we are going from a third dimensional state of consciousness to a fourth dimensional state of consciousness. And because of that, we are waking up. We are waking up from the dream of separation. We are waking up to who we really are, and the fourth dimension is really about us moving from our control of the third dimension into our heart center. And as we move into our heart center, we see that we're all connected. We start to feel more connected to other people. We realize that life really is meant to be magical. When we watch these movies like Harry Potter, I'm a big Harry Potter fan. If you follow me on Instagram, then you know. Huge Harry Potter fan. That's because I believe in actuality that is closer to how reality can be. And because of that, we can tap into that more, and that's our true power. Our true power is similar to that. But you see, the solidity of our thoughts keep us, and because of our mass beliefs, there's billions of people in the world that believe that's not possible, it keeps us within a certain paradigm. If you ever heard of Atlantis, that was a time on the planet when we did have abilities like that. We'd use crystals. It was a very magical time on the planet. But what happened is we fell from that because of certain decisions that were made, kind of went off into the ego a little bit too much, and then that caused the society to collapse. And now we're going through a similar process of going back up. And it's a very beautiful thing. And part of that is realizing that we can stop identifying so much with the ego. We can stop identifying so much with how everything is and thinking everything has to be so solid. We can start to realize that we aren't just, our ego is an avatar. Our ego is an avatar. But our whole life we have these experiences that accumulate and we say, this is who I am because I've experienced this before. But that's not who you are. That's just your body. That's just your ego. You see, you can start to see it more of your ego is a part of you, but it is not you at the same time. It is something that you are using. It is something that you can integrate. You can integrate your ego and understand it for what it is and have this awareness of it. But at the same time, know that you are so much more. You are unconditional love and bliss. You see, you have part of you, the most of you, is in a higher dimensional state of consciousness, dreaming, projecting yourself to this reality. And in this lifetime, this is about awakening. This is about awakening back up to that fourth dimensional state of consciousness where we merge into our higher self. The fourth dimension is really about merging into our higher self. And when I say fourth dimension, it gets a little bit, you can say 3D, 4D, 5D. In actuality, when we look at, we could say that we've already been in the fourth dimension because we have 3 dimensions of space and 1 of time. In a way, the way that I've been described it before is we are moving into a fourth density, which can be considered the fifth dimension. Or we are in third density, moving into fourth density, but these names and these terms aren't really that important. The idea and what is important is that we stop identifying so much with the ego. Understand your ego is a machine. It's just playing itself out. It's got these thoughts about the reality and how it works. It's got these thoughts and it thinks these thoughts and it has these emotions and we react to it and we have this perpetual loop that happens over and over and over again. But the ego is just a machine that is doing its job. The key is to not identify so much with the machine. Don't identify so much with the ego. Integrate the ego. I'm not saying to resist it. I'm just saying that the more you become aware of it, the more you can then integrate it in a powerful way, and the more then you can act in alignment, because you can align with a higher vibrational energy that you naturally are. So just have that awareness that you are more than your ego. Your ego is just doing its job. Have compassion for the ego. The ego just wants to survive. And as you do that, you'll find that then things in your life begin to align in a powerful way. So the fourth dimension, fourth density, whatever we want to call this, we're moving into it right now. If you're watching this video, then it's meant, you cannot perceive that which you are not the vibration of. If you perceive of this video, you're going through the shift. My guess is that you're going through the shift because you're going to help other people go through the shift and help people understand it. Part of it is having these things get brought up, these negative experiences get brought up from our past, observing them, letting them go. One of the most powerful meditations I've created is on completing the past. If you want to complete the past of the 3D, in order to transcend the 3D, you have to become at peace with it. That's the thing a lot of people resist. Screw the 3D, screw all these people, these negative people, screw it, screw it, screw it. The more you say that, the more you resist it, the more you actually activate it. The key is becoming at peace with it. I have a meditation that will help you complete the past and feel worthy, whole, and complete. It's one of the most powerful meditations I've created. Read the comments to see what I'm talking about, to see what's possible. It's a YouTube video. You can listen to it for 21 days. It will change your life. It's in the top of the description box below. Remember that you're just more powerful than you can even imagine, and that this is the time to be alive right now. So it's exciting. If you want, I'll be doing more live Q&As on Instagram as well. So if you want to ask me questions there, you'll see my Instagram right here. I post twice daily there as well. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like this video, can you let me know and comment below? Do you want more videos on dimensions, on spiritual awakening in this kind of way and understanding how we can activate our light body, star seeds, indigos? Some I'm going more into. If you want more, let me know what you want more of below, and I will do it. Other than that, hope you enjoyed this video. Peace, much love, namaste.